To our dearest Marcellia, this morning a courier arrived bearing a notice sealed with the crest of White Run Hold. We nearly dismissed it as some clerical error, perhaps overdue taxes on a farm we never owned, but to our astonishment, it was something far more curious. According to the letter, a riverfront estate known as Leaf Rest, nestled just outside the village of Riverwood along the White River, has been transferred into our family's name. Apparently, it once belonged to a retired imperial officer with distant ties to your grandfather's service. With no heirs of his own, and the line of succession rather tangled, the property has defaulted, through an impressive bit of legal maneuvering, to us. We've no use for a home so far north. The roads are long and our bones are not what they once were, but for you, perhaps, it is just the thing. You've always spoken fondly of Riverwood, quiet, honest, removed from the noise of court and coin. We imagine the White River sounds beautiful in the evening. Maybe, for once, you'll let yourself rest beside it. The deed is enclosed. The courier has instructions to see it safely to your hands. Make it yours, if you wish. We trust you'll know what to do with such a gift. With love and pride, Mother and Father. And so I began my journey to Leaf Rest. I gathered supplies as I went along. I'd heard the path to White Run was full of bandits, but I had forgotten it was also probably full of wolves. What I didn't expect was the necromancer. I wasn't ready for that. I found myself running from one bad situation right into another. Skeevers. I hate them. But White Run was beautiful, if not a little too cold. There were many farms around here. I could surely sell my own produce. Oh good, a carriage. I'd take that back. Then I turned around and headed to Riverwood, where I would see what this Leaf Rest looked like. This area is so beautiful, but I could have done without the rain and the thaw more.
Interfering with official form of business.
At this point in my journey, I think I'd gotten pretty good with handling the wolves because I had a lot of practice. And there it was, Riverwood. Oh, it looked really quaint. I loved the water in the river. I wonder where Leaf Rest was. There was an inn. That was good. I could sell my food and my produce there.
Grodnar, nobody's gonna believe that your dog is a frostbite spider.
A
And if they
riverwood
do,
trader
they'll kill him. That's not much of a
and a
price.
blacksmith.
Oh yeah?
I could sell all kinds of things here.
How about we play tag? You're it.
Hey, no fair. Get her some.
This is it. Leaf rest. There was a little bar. Maybe I could make wine. A nice place to just sit and have a drink. A place to journal. The kitchen looked wonderful. I could make all kinds of great recipes there. This looks very promising. Unlike Riften, in Riverwood, there's a trader across the way. It has its own forge. But does it have a place I can farm? No nesting chickens, and no cow means no milk, no eggs. But there was access to fresh water. And I was thirsty after the journey. And there was a little plot of land where I could actually plant some vegetables, herbs, and ingredients. After I checked out the soil and watered it, it was getting late and I was getting tired. But it was beautiful. I think this would work out much better than Waterview. Tomorrow, I would head back to Waterview and pick up things that I needed from there. Tonight I needed food, and I needed rest, and I needed a little relaxation before I fell asleep. If I wanted to eat, I needed logs for the fire. There we go. That should be good. And I'll cook myself a quick meal and then do something a little relaxing. And now a good book before bed. The Real Baronzia, Volume 1. 500 years ago in Mournhold, city of gems, there lived a blind widow and her only child, a tall, strapping young man. He was a miner, as was his father before him, a common laborer in the mines of the Lord of Mournhold, for his ability in magica was small. The work was honorable, but paid poorly. His mother made and sold cumberry cakes at the city market to help eke out their living. They did well enough, she said. They had enough to fill their bellies. No one could wear more than one suit of clothing at a time, and the roof leaked only when it rained. But Symmachus would have liked more. He hoped for a lucky strike at the mines, which would garner him a large bonus. In his free hours, he enjoyed hoisting a mug of ale in the tavern with his friends, gambling with them at cards. He also drew the eyes and sighs of more than one pretty elven lass, although none held his interest for long. He was a typical young dark elf of peasant descent, remarkable only for his size. It was rumored that he had a bit of Nordic blood in him. In Symmachus's 30th year, there was great rejoicing in Mournhold. A girl child had been born to the lord lady, a queen, the people sang. A queen is born to us. For among the people of Mournhold, the birth of an heiress is a sure sign of future peace and prosperity. When the time came round for the royal child's rite of naming, the mines were closed and Symmachus dashed home to bathe and dress in his best. I'll rush straight home and tell you all about it, he promised his mother, who would not be able to attend. She had been ailing, and besides there would be a great crush of people, as all Mournhold turned out to be part of the blessed event, and being blind, she would be unable to see anything anyway. My son, she said, afore you go, fetch me a priest or a healer, else I may pass from the mortal plane ere you return. Symmachus crossed to her pallet at once and noted anxiously that her forehead was very hot and her breathing shallow. He pried loose a slat of the wooden floor under which their small hoard of savings was kept. There wasn't nearly enough to pay a priest for healing. He would have to give what they had and owe the rest. Symmachus snatched up his cloak and hurried away. The streets were full of folk hurrying to the sacred grove, but the temples were locked and barred. Closed for the ceremony, read all the signs. Symmachus elbowed his way through the mob and managed to overtake a brown-robed priest. After the rite, brother, the priest said, if you have gold, I shall gladly attend to your mother. My lord has bidden all clerics attend, and I, for one, have no wish to offend him. My mother's desperately ill, Symmachus pled. Surely my lord will not miss one lowly priest. True, but the arcanon will, the priest said nervously, tearing his robe loose from Symmachus's desperate grip and vanishing into the crowd. Symmachus tried other priests and even a few mages, but with no better result. Armored guards marched through the street and pushed him aside with their lances, and Symmachus realized that the royal procession was approaching. As the carriage bearing the city's rulers drew abreast, Symmachus rushed out from the crowd and shouted, my lord, my mother's dying. I forbid her to do so on this glorious night, the lord shouted, laughing and scattering coin into the throng. Symmachus was close enough to smell wine on the royal breath. On the other side of the carriage, his lady clutched the babe to her breast and stared slit-eyed at Symmachus. Her nostrils flared in disdain. Guard, she cried, remove this oaf. Rough hands seized Symmachus. He was beaten and left dazed by the side of the road. Symmachus, head aching, followed in the wake of the crowd and witnessed the rite of naming from the top of a hill. He could see the brown-robed clerics and the blue-robed mages gathered near the high-born folk far below. Baranziah. The name came dimly to Symmachus's ears as the high priest lifted the swaddled babe and proffered her to the twin moons on either side of the horizon, Joan rising, Jode setting. Behold the lady Baranziah, born to the land of Mournhold. Grant her thy blessings and thy counsel, ye kind gods, that she may ever rule well over Mournhold, its ken and its weal, its kith and its ilk. Bless her, bless her, all the people intoned, along with their lord and lady, hands upraised. Only Symmachus stood silent, head bowed, knowing in his heart that his dear mother was gone, and in silence he swore a mighty oath that he should be his Lord's bane, and in vengeance for his mother's needless death, the child Berenziah, he should have her as his own bride, and that his mother's grandchildren should be born to rule over Mournhold. Tomorrow, the next chapter. Good night, and may the divines watch over us. Until tomorrow, then.